And back at the Classic of the Country, Matt Croy alongside Dan Olson, who has Collegiate Basketball Report. And he's been doing that for quite a few years. And Dan, been coming to the Classic for a long time here, Dan. And Dan, for you, the Classic of the Country, what stands out to you about this Classic and getting the chance to come back to this every single year?
Yeah, it seems to be a staple for me to come to the Classic every year. You know, Berlin, Ohio, couldn't be any better. Nice cold night. Outside, but good basketball inside. And like I said, of my weekly travels throughout the year, I make a point to come to Berlin for the Classic in the Country.
And good to see you as always. Now, Collegiate Basketball Report, I know we talk to you every single year here, but for those folks who don't know, what exactly is Collegiate Basketball Report?
So this is a scouting service that I own and direct that I've been doing for in excess now of almost 17 years. That provides information for college coaches to learn more about each individual player that they may be recruiting from across the country at various levels, all the way from the high major schools down through the junior colleges, through the Division IIs and IIIs. So I cover a wide range of players and ability levels.
It has to be valuable, too, Dan, for when it comes to coaches, a tool for them because they can't get everywhere, right? They have to be able to have that information to know where the players are at.
Yeah, it's not their primary, obviously, to base all of their recruiting upon one thing, but it's a good backup. It's a good secondary for them when they may get stuck from not having that player that they wanted and that they have to move on to Plan B. Well, I may have Plan B for them in my mind. Within my scouting service so that I can refer them to that player.
Danny, you said doing this for 17 years. What was kind of your basketball background before that that kind of led you into doing this?
Yeah, well, it all started back in the mid-'80s. I was a junior college men's assistant coach. I coached 9 years on the side of the men as both a Division II and an NAI assistant. Mm-hmm. Those days back then were... I was blessed to have a mentor that really took me under his wing and taught me things that I'll never forget, that I use to this day. And then, as time evolved, I got on into the women's side. Was a bit reluctant when I first started to do it. But after about a week's time, I'm like, wow, I can really do okay at this. I think I can succeed. And I did. I was a head coach for 9 years on the Division II women's side. And had a great time in doing it, loved it. And then, the internet hit, and things evolved. And, I just found my way to winding up having this opportunity to start a business on my own, and it's really worked out well for me.
It's grown from there. Now, as far as this weekend is concerned, obviously a lot of great talent here, but what's some of the talented players maybe stand out to you here at the Classic in the Country?
Well, certainly I just watched one in Katie Fox from Lakota West. Katie I've known for a few years as I've watched her through her middle school years playing on the summer circuit, but she's really evolved into a nice guard that can do one thing really well, shoot the ball.
Yeah.
But there's so many other players that offer different types of levels and different types of characteristics to their game. Mary Girton, who one of the leading guards, I think, in the country in her age group. Really kind of an entertaining, explosive young point guard that can score as well. So, both of these girls that I mentioned are going to be good, solid college players wherever they may wind up.
All right, Dan, what's next? What's the next big event that you're going to be covering?
Oh, wow. I know I go out west here coming up next week. I do a lot of middle school stuff, to attract the young girls that are coming up into the high school ranks. So I try to put my finger on that to know that, who they might be. And, 1 week leads into another, into the other, and then the next thing you know, it's a new year.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Nice to see you. That's Dan Olson with Collegiate Basketball Report at this year's Classic in the Country.